State-of-the-art tunnel boring machines can excavate more than 80 meters of tunnel per day. In the process, they produce huge quantities of spoil which need to be removed from the tunnel continuously. The Herrenknecht Gripper tunnel boring machine shown here excavates up to 20,000 tons, that is 800 truckloads of spoil per day. Conveyor systems by H&E ensure fast, simple and environmentally sound spoil removal. Unlike trucks or rail vehicles, belt conveyor systems produce no emissions, thus facilitating the supply of clean, fresh air to the tunnel face. Thanks to their small dimensions, belt conveyors leave enough space for tunneling operations to proceed largely unimpeded, and the spoil problem is solved almost unnoticed. H&E Logistic supplies a full range of conveying equipment for tunnel projects, starting from the cutter head down to spoil disposal. The main components are the belt conveyor on the tunnel boring machine, the cross belt conveyor and the tunnel belt conveyor. The belt conveyor on the tunnel boring machine and the cross belt conveyor are two separate short belt conveyors with low drive power which are mounted immovably on the tunnel boring machine. The tunnel belt conveyor, with a length of up to 30 kilometers, consists of a loading station, which is also mounted immovably on the tunnel boring machine, an extension station to extend the conveyor supporting structure, an intermediate drive station, and a conveyor belt storage cassette located at the tunnel portal. The material excavated by the cutter head is dumped on the belt conveyor of the tunnel boring machine. From here, the material is conveyed by the cross belt conveyor to the tunnel belt conveyor. This first conveying section is fixed to the tunnel boring machine. To be able to follow the tunnel boring machine, the tunnel belt conveyor has to extend continuously. At the point marked here, the belt of the tunnel boring machine reaches a stationary structure mounted on the tunnel segment rings. The area marked red is pulled along as the tunnel boring machine advances. The continuously growing gap between the conveyor belt mounted immovably on the tunnel boring machine and the stationary equipment mounted on the tunnel ring segments is closed here with new segments of the conveyor supporting structure. The extension ski, as it is called, lifts the conveyor belt in this area, creating space for the assembly of the extension segment below. The extension ski provides a bridge over the assembly area, with one end fixed to the tunnel boring machine and the other end resting loosely on the stationary conveyor supporting structure. The H&E solution allows tunnel excavation and spoil removal to continue non-stop, because the new segment of the conveyor supporting structure can be assembled with the conveyor system running. The vertical belt storage tower located at the tunnel portal supplies the additional length of conveyor belt that is required for a certain distance of advance. This storage design is used when cramped site conditions at the start shaft leave too little space for our horizontal belt storage cassette. This is often the case with inner-city infrastructure projects. The vertical belt storage tower consists of 8 modules which are mounted one on top of the other onto a steel structure. The different levels are accessible via ladders and the working platform. The actual belt storage system is installed inside the tower. It consists of several layers of conveyor belt which are guided by a moving tension unit. The conveyor belt is guided from the main drive station into the vertical belt storage tower, where it is deflected in multiple layers. Fixed to the topmost modules is the stationary tension unit, which acts as a counterpart to the moving one you can see here at the lowest level of the tower. In the situation shown here, the belt storage tower is completely filled with conveyor belt. The conveyor belt is released from the belt storage tower in a controlled manner as the tunnel boring machine advances. During the advance, the moving tension unit moves upwards towards the fixed tension unit. Below the moving tension unit, a counterweight is mounted which can slide freely up and down. The counterweight and the moving tension unit are tied together by a steel cord on a hoist to maintain the necessary belt tension. The H&E belt storage tower can be loaded with up to 400 meters of conveyor belt, providing sufficient length for the next 200 meters of advance. During maintenance downtimes of the tunnel boring machine, the conveyor belt storage can be refilled by cutting the existing conveyor belt and fusing it to a new length of conveyor belt by vulcanization. The moving tension unit is pulled downwards by an electrically powered winch, pulling the new conveyor belt into the storage cassette. Now the storage tower is loaded and ready for the next section of advance. During a long advance, this process is repeated several times. A minimum of qualified staff is required for maintenance and operation. On request, H&E provides qualified staff for supervising operations and coordinating and training assembly and maintenance crews. By purchasing a belt conveyor system from H&E Logistic, you not only obtained state-of-the-art conveying equipment, but also benefit from the full range of our ancillary services, starting from the first blueprint through all phases of operation down to successful tunnel breakthrough. H&E Logistic. Clever conveying.